Day number 2 of the 12 days of MLB rankings coming at you right now. Today, I'm ranking the best first baseman from every team in Major League Baseball. Right now in baseball, there are some insanely talented first basemen. This is a really, really deep rankings. I mean, we get to like 25 and you start talking about some good players. But I feel good about this ranking. We got some guys moving positions. I think you're gonna like what you see. So of course, if you guys don't want to miss out on any of the 12 days of rankings, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Click that sub button, join the team, as well as click that bell icon so you get notified when I upload. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy it. It really does help support the channel. Get in the comments down below. Give me your thoughts and opinions on what we're talking about with these rankings. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? I'm going to be replying to you guys. Follow me on my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. What are you waiting for? For the 31st best first baseman in Major League Baseball, I've got Yoshi Tsutsugo of the Pittsburgh Pirates. While Tsutsugo had some success with the Pirates last year, overall at the Major League level, he just hasn't really been that impressive. Now, he completely could turn it around in Pittsburgh and become better, but based on what we've seen and what we know of him as a player, 697 OPS for his career so far in 2 seasons in 132 games, 16 homers, 17 doubles, 56 RBIs, 309 on base. Just not a lot to get excited about here with Yoshi Tsutsugo just yet, but you know, he can rise. He's gonna get a shot in Pittsburgh for sure. At the number 30 spot, I'm going with Cleveland Guardians first baseman Bobby Bradley. We really haven't seen too much of Bobby Bradley, and to be honest, in the time that we have seen, it's been like okay. He's only played 89 games, a 718 OPS. He's not much of a fielder at first base, 17 homers, 15 doubles, 45 RBIs, a WRC plus for his career at 92. It's really tough at the first base position to rank guys, especially when they have such little playing time. But right now, Bobby Bradley's at 30. Another guy who could definitely rise through this list pretty easily. At the number 29 spot, I'm going with Milwaukee Brewers first baseman Rowdy Tellez, who he's just not been very consistent. He looked good in 2020, struggled in 19, struggled in 21. But then when he got to the Brewers, he's playing a little bit better. Still like a below average season offensively. I don't really know where to go with Rowdy here. He's probably more of a DH bench bat, and his bat is so inconsistent that it's hard to play him every day at first. So that's why I have him coming in at number 29. He does hit the ball like extremely hard though. Next up at the number 28 spot, I've got Christian Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks, who had some good seasons in 19 and 20, but now that we know that the baseball's not juiced, Christian Walker's numbers have gone down quite a bit. 10 homers, 23 doubles, 46 RBIs last year with the 696 OPS. Not really walking that much either, only 38 walks last year. The glove is still pretty solid, but overall, in terms of first baseman, Christian Walker, not one of the stronger ones, probably more of a platoon guy. At number 27, one of the bigger fallers in today's video, that's gonna be Eric Hosmer. Maybe I'm a little harsh on the guy, but he just isn't that good. I thought he learned to hit the ball in the air more, but he stopped doing that last year, and the numbers showed. I mean, 269 average, 337 on base, 395 slugging, 732 OPS. It's not bad, but by no means is he one of the better all-around first basemen, along with the fact that the glove is just not very good anymore. I don't know, Hosmer's so weird, because if he just hits the ball in the air, he'll be really good, and that will be the huge change that will push him forward, but while he continues to still hit the ball on the ground consciously, I can't put him much higher. Number 26, another big faller, Carlos Santana of the Kansas City Royals. Last year was the first season we really saw Carlos Santana look old. In his 35-year-old season, he struggled mightily. 214 average, he still did have a 319 on base, 86 walks in 659 plate appearances, so it gives him a walk rate of about 13%, which is pretty disgusting, but the power was completely gone. 342 slugging gave him a 660 OPS, which was the second season in a row of just a poor offensive year. Carlos Santana, I think he's starting to go towards the back end of his career here now, not one of the top first basemen anymore. Next up, I got Boston Red Sox first baseman Bobby Dahlbeck, who right now is their first baseman. It might change when we get closer to the season. Bobby's a hard guy to rank. He actually finished the season pretty strong last year, 25 homers, 21 doubles, 5 triples, and 78 RBIs, hitting 240 with a 298 on base, 494 slugging, 792 OPS. That was good for WRC plus of 107. He did some stuff well, but he still doesn't walk like at all. He still strikeouts way too much, and he plays almost little to no defense at first base. Bobby Dahlbeck is going to be, I think, a good player for the Red Sox, but right now, in terms of first baseman in the league, it's hard to project him to be much higher than where I have. For the 24th best first baseman in Major League Baseball, we're heading out to Detroit, and it's not Spencer Torkelson, hasn't played yet, not ranking him. We're going with Jonathan Scope instead, who did play a lot of first base last year and will probably be the first baseman on opening day. He actually had a really good year last year, 22 homers, 30 doubles, 84 RBIs with a 278 average, 320 on base, 435 slugging, 755 OPS. He's just like fine. Offensively, he's a little above average. Defensively at first, he's whatever. It doesn't really matter. There are just better players than him. That being said, Jonathan Scope has value. If he walked a little bit more, that would be nice. It would definitely boost up his numbers, but it's hard not to say that a guy who has 22 homers and 30 doubles on a season isn't somewhat valuable. So I like Scope here at the number 24 spot. Coming in at number 23, I'm going to go with Miami Marlins first baseman Jesus Aguilar. Another one of these guys who is pretty strong offensively, but not one of these premier power hitters. Last year, 22 homers, 23 doubles, 93 RBIs, a 261 average, 329 on base, 459 slugging, and a 788 OPS, coming off of a strong 2020, but then off of a bad 19. I mean, he's kind of all over the place, but I will say his offense has been pretty consistent. He just doesn't have that elite power that some of the other guys at first base have. But that being said, Jesus Aguilar, still a really solid first baseman. Number number 22, I'm going with the Twins first baseman Miguel Sano. He's just so inconsistent, but he has the ability to just absolutely mash home runs. Like, he's one of the better power hitters in the game. 30 homers and 24 doubles last year in 532 plate appearances, 223 average, always low, 312 on base, not great, 466 slugging, and a 778 OPS. It's just hard to forget what he did in 2019, where he hit those 34 homers in 105 games. He still puts up WRC pluses above 100. Awful defensively. Again, just kind of part of this group of first basemen that are just kind of good offensively, and that's really it. Not elite, though. Miguel Sano, number 22. Just missing out on the top 20. Coming in at number 21, I've got G-Man Choi of the Rays. I picked him over Yandy. I think G-Man is better. While Yandy does some things better, they're really more of a platoon. And if you put that platoon together, it's pretty sick. But right now, G-Man alone, I think it fits well. Doesn't hit for a high average, but gets on base very well. Decent pop in the bat. Pretty good first baseman overall. G-Man Choi is a pretty solid player. Getting the top 20 started at the number 20 spot, I'm going with Frank Schwindel of the Chicago Cubs. Now, it was a super small sample size, 64 games. But Schwindel did some stuff that was really encouraging, like his baseball savant numbers, his StatCast stuff. It all looks pretty good, and there's no reason to think that Schwindel can't hit above average at the major league level still. Last year in those 64 games, he was pretty disgusting. 14 homers, 20 doubles, a triple, and 43 RBIs. 35 extra base hits in 64 games. That's pretty special. 326 average, 371 on base, 591 slugging, OPS at 962, good for a WRC plus of 152. Schwindel looked good. I think he'll be pretty good next year. Top 20, I think that's a pretty safe bet for him. At the number 19 spot, I'm going with Texas Rangers first baseman Nate Lowe, or Nathaniel Lowe. That's what his name is on everything, so I guess he wants to be called Nathaniel now. But Nathaniel looked pretty good. He came from the Rays organization. You know he was going to be a player. Played 157 games last year, 18 homers, 24 doubles, 3 triples, 72 RBIs, hitting 264 with a 357 on base, 415 slugging, 771 OPS. While the glove at first base is a little shaky, I like that he gets on base at above 10%, seems to hit the ball pretty hard. Nathaniel Lowe is a decent little player. Again, he's 25. I like what he can do in Texas with a much stronger lineup around him in 2022. Coming in at the number 18 spot, Baltimore Orioles first baseman Ryan Mountcastle. Mountcastle had a really strong year, finishing 6th in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2021. 33 homers, 23 doubles, 89 RBIs, hitting 255 with a 309 on base, 47 slugging, 796 OPS. While he had, I think, the most home runs among rookie players this year, he doesn't really walk too much, and he does play in Baltimore, so we have to adjust those numbers. And when you do, his WRC plus was 111, still very good, but that's kind of what you expect from first base. So Ryan Mountcastle, great start to his career. I hope big things for him. I think number 18 is a pretty comfy spot for him. I think number 18 is a pretty comfy spot for Mountcastle. At 17, I'm going with a guy who's currently not signed to a team, Anthony Rizzo. But I had to include him because he's too good like not to. He will be a first baseman somewhere. Pretty much since he's been called up, he's had an OPS right around 800, hitting about 25 homers, 30 doubles a season, playing pretty good defense at first. His play has declined though the last few seasons, 2020 and 2021. We saw him take a little bit of a step back, hitting for less average, getting on base less power. It's going to happen when Anthony Rizzo's getting older, but I do still think that he's a very serviceable first baseman and will provide some value to teams. And we saw it last year, 22 homers, 23 doubles, 61 RBIs, 783 OPS. Rizzo's very solid, right around that average first baseman range. For the 16th best first baseman in Major League Baseball, Josh Bell of the Washington Nationals. If this guy could combine his second half of 2021 with the first half of 2019, you're looking at an elite first baseman, but he has an inability to put it together for a full season. And just like Hosmer that we mentioned earlier, he hits the ball on the ground far too much. Still, hits the ball hard, is a good baseball player. 27 homers, 24 doubles last year, 88 RBIs, hitting 261 with a 347 on base, 476 slugging, gives him a WRC plus of 118. Not great with the glove, little inconsistent and streaky with the bat, but we know that Josh Bell can play well. I wouldn't be shocked if we could see this guy creep into the top 10 with a strong season after next year. Right at the halfway point here, number 15, I'm going with CJ Cron of the Colorado Rockies. Just one of the more underrated first basemen in the game. Now, he's not elite by any means, but the dude does mash. He just happens to also have no hands at first base. Last year in Colorado, granted, in Colorado, 28 homers, 31 doubles, 92 RBIs, hitting 281 with a 375 on base, 530 slugging, 905 OPS. That was good enough for a WRC plus at 127 though. And really, if you look since 2018, WRC plus right around that 120 range. He does mash. He's a very good hitter, kind of getting this next tier of players started here, which leads me to a player that's very similar to CJ Cron at number 14, Luke Voit of the New York Yankees. Luke Voit was a lot higher last year, and granted, we saw him come off a strong 2020, but the injuries as well as the Yankees might not play him. I don't know if they bring Rizzo back, there's going to be a platoon there. I still think Luke Voit's very good though. He's shown the power, he's shown the ability to hit. He also just doesn't have any hands. But that being said, you look at the last 2 years combined, 2020 and 2021, 124 games, 33 homers, 87 RBIs, hitting 258 with a 333 on base, 523 slugging, 856 OPS. That's an OPS plus of 132. I think Luke Voit can easily be top 10, but let's see him come back healthy, let's see him come back strong, and then I'll be happy to call him a top 10 first baseman in Major League Baseball again, without a doubt. So you see him play a little more consistently. Give me a full like 120 and we can put you in there. At the number 13 spot, I like Jared Walsh of the Los Angeles Angels, the guy who kicked Pujols out of town. Let me tell you something, Jared Walsh is a ball player. He's really good. While he does strike out above 25%, which is a little much, he mashes the baseball. Last year, 29 homers, homers, 34 doubles, 98 RBIs, hitting 277 with a 340 on base, 509 slugging, 850 OPS. He was very, very good with that great left-handed swing, a WRC plus at 127. He's a good athlete. I really like Jared Walsh going into 2022. I think he is going to be one of the better first basemen. The list is just pretty deep. First base, there's a lot of hitters out there, and there are some guys who do things a little better, but Walsh is very good here at number 13. For the 12th best first baseman, I had such a hard time ranking him, but it's Yuli Gurriel. He's going to be in his 38-year-old season. He has to slow down at some point, right? I mean, outside of the 2020 year, which you can maybe count as a fluke, it's a small sample, Gurriel is just mashed. He's always mashed, and he won the batting title last year in the American League. 319 average, 383 on base, 462 slugging, 846 OPS. He doesn't strike out. He actually walks a decent amount, right around 10% last year, which was a huge improvement for him. He had a WRC plus of 134. As much as you want to doubt Gurriel, he's still very good. He even won the Gold Glove. Just outside the top 10 because he is going to be almost ancient. He doesn't have like that elite power. And then just missing on the top 10, coming in at number 11, Foolish Baseball's favorite player, Ty France, who can play every position. He's really good. Since 2020, Ty France has played in 195 games, 294 average, 368 on base, 449 slugging, good for a WOBA of 355, WRC plus of 130. He's been a really strong player. And even last year, you'd consider it his breakout season. 18 homers, 32 doubles, 73 RBIs, and 813 OPS out in Seattle. He was a huge part of their offense. Ty France is a really good player. Probably going to slot in here at first base, but he can play second, third. I'm sure he could play any position on the field. He's Ty France. I have him just outside the top 10 though, ever so slightly, because getting the top 10 started at the number 10 spot, I got Rhys Hoskins of the Phillies. He's cracking the top 10 for me. Rhys Hoskins is pretty good. He gets on base at a really high clip. He's walked 12% since 2020. He's got pop in his bat. 27 homers and 29 doubles last year in 443 plate appearances. 247 average, 334 on base, 530 slugging, 864 OPS. WRC plus of 130 since 2020. Like, he does a lot of things really well. He's a good offensive player. Health, of course, could always be something that you can maybe go back to with Rhys since he hasn't played a full season the last two, but he does mash. He gets on base. Rhys Hoskins, top 10 first baseman. God, I hate saying that. Coming in as the 9th best first baseman in Major League Baseball, I'm going with Joey Votto of the Cincinnati Reds. Oh, Joey Votto, thank you. He swung for power last year and he became really, really good. He stopped caring about striking out and he was like, hey, power, walks, I'm a beast. I might even have him too low, honestly. I want to see a little bit more from him. He is also going into his 38-year-old season, so everything with a grain of salt. But last year, 36 homers, 23 doubles, 99 RBIs, a 266 average, 375 on base, 563 slugging, 938 OPS. That was good for a WRC plus of 140 last year, a WOBA of 391. We know he's a good glove over at first base, 132 WRC plus the last 2 years combined. Joey Votto, oh, finally, there he is. That's the player that we once saw win an MVP. He looked really good in 2021, definitely worthy of a top 10 spot. At the number 8 spot, I'm going with the guy who is definitely the most underrated first baseman in baseball. That's Brandon Belt. I've underrated him for years. And granted, it was easy. He played in San Francisco. He didn't have great counting numbers, but this dude, the last 2 years, while he hasn't played like a full season, it's 148 games the last 2 years, this is pretty gross. In those last 148 games he's played, 38 homers, 27 doubles, 89 RBIs with a 285 average, 393 on base, 595 slugging, and a 988 OPS. That gives him a WRC plus of 163. He's 63% better than the average hitter. A WOBA at 413. He's a really good defensive first baseman. He's walking 14% of the time. Brandon Belt, most underrated first baseman in the league without a doubt. This dude is really good, and if he probably played outside San Francisco, he'd get even more credit. But I think number 8, this is a really good spot for Brandon Belt. Coming in at number 7, I've got the 2020 American League MVP, Jose Abreu. And I know people are going to say, how do you put Abreu over Belt, over Hoskins, over some of these guys? The thing with Abreu is he does it every single year. He doesn't care. And while he plays little to no defense, and you might not like him because who cares about RBIs? I mean, you can't deny the guy is going to drive in 100 RBIs every single season. I mean, his 162 game average in the 8 years he's played is 33 homers, 38 doubles, 115 RBIs. He is a monster. He's a machine. He's consistent. Last year, 30 homers, 30 doubles, 117 RBIs, a 261 average, 351 on base, 481 slugging, 831 OPS. Jose Abreu may not have some of the high numbers, especially sabermetrically like some of these other guys, but you can't knock the consistency this dude has. And he walked more last year. Jose Abreu, I love him. Number 7. And then just missing out on the top 5, coming in at number 6, I got New York Mets first baseman, my boy Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is so good. It's just the top 5 is hard to crack into, and those guys are better. But let me tell you about how good Pete is, because you better start throwing respect on this guy's name. He's never not been good. I'm not even going to include 2019 because we know juice balls, but remember, he hit 53 homers. Even the last 2 years combined, 129 WRC plus, a 254 average, 339 on base, 511 slugging, a WOBA at 357. He improved massively defensively last year, very much improved, looked good at first base, hit 37 homers last year, 27 doubles, 863 OPS. This dude is a hitting machine, seems to be improving upon the 2020 season, getting stronger. I don't expect 53 homers ever again. Juice baseballs, plus like he was a rookie. I don't know. You get the scouting report on this guy, but Pete Alonso is without a doubt one of the the top 6 best first basemen in baseball. No question. In the top 5 started at the number 5 spot, I've got Max Muncy of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The injury next year scares me a little bit. I don't know how much he'll play, if he'll play a full season, but even then, Max Muncy's just so good. Now, of course, a lot of his value comes from being able to play a variety of different positions and playing them all well, but he's also very good at first base and he mashes. 2020, weird year, small sample, didn't play well. But the full seasons he's played since 2018, he's averaging 35 homers, 25 doubles basically, close to 100 RBIs, a 250, 260 average with a 370 on base, 530, 540 slugging, and a 900 OPS. I mean, the guy is such a beast at the plate. The injuries and stuff maybe slow him down a little bit next year, but his eye, his discipline, the pop he has in that bat, he's an elite first baseman. At the number 4 spot, I'm going with Paul Goldschmidt of the St. Louis Cardinals. So good. Great glove over at first base. He's awesome there. He's raking. He's been hitting so much better since he's gotten really comfortable in St. Louis. And we saw that kind of really show last season. Last year, Goldschmidt really returned to his Arizona MVP type form. 31 homers, 36 doubles, 99 RBIs, even stole 12 bases, hitting 294, 365 on base, 514 slugging, 879 OPS. Good for a WRC plus of 138, WOBA 373. He was a beast. He was one of the better first basemen in the league, one of the better players in the league. Paul Goldschmidt comes in at number 4, though. I think there's 3 guys better, but damn, Goldschmidt's really good. Coming in at the number 3 spot, first baseman for the Oakland A's, Matt Olson. It's time we start throwing respect on Matt Olson's name. He did some crazy stuff last year. First off, let's talk about a guy who had struck out basically 25 to 30% of the time for his career before last season. Yeah, he dropped it to 16.8% last year. That is a huge improvement to his game. Along with the fact that he walked 13%, hit 271 with 371 on base, 540 slugging, WRC plus of 146, WOBA 379. He's great at first base defensively. 39 homers, 35 doubles. I mean, Matt Olson, my gosh, this dude is one of the better hitters in the entire league, one of the better players. Throw some respect on Matt Olson's name. Once he gets out of Oakland, you're going to start talking about this guy as one of the better hitters in the league without a doubt. He's my number 3 first baseman. Just missing out on the number 1 spot, coming in at number 2. No longer the official best first baseman in Major League Baseball in my eyes, but still very good. Freddie Freeman. No, he's not technically with the Braves, but we're going to count him. Freddie Freeman. I mean, what can't this guy do? Won the MVP in 2020, World Series champion 2021, and the numbers just continue to be insane. Hit 300 last year with an almost 400 on base percentage, 503 slugging, 896 OPS, 135 WRC plus off the MVP season where he was just playing video game type stuff. 341 average, 462, 1102 OPS. He was unbelievable. Great with the glove at first base. I know, like, being a good teammate and a good guy around the clubhouse doesn't matter, but he is that. You can't not love Freddie Freeman. I'm a Mets fan. I wish he wasn't on the Braves because I want to root for this guy. He's awesome. And he's been doing it for what feels like the last, I don't know, 8-9 years. He's just been so good forever. Freddie Freeman, number 2, and it's not because he got worse. It's because the guy at number 1, the guy at number 1's scary good. Coming in at number 1, the best first baseman in Major League Baseball going into the 2022 season, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Now I hear you Freddie Freeman stands. Vlad only had 1 good year. Yeah, but look at the year he had. He's the best first baseman in the league. He finished second in the MVP voting, only lost to a guy who did something generationally we've never seen in Ohtani. 48 homers, best in the league, 29 doubles, 111 RBIs, 311 average, 401 on base, 601 slugging, 1002 OPS. It's good for a WRC plus of 166, a WOBA of 419. Mashing, best hitter in baseball last year. I don't even know if that's really an argument. He walked 12% of the time, only struck out 15% of the time. He's not even hitting the ball in the air as much as he should. These numbers, in theory, could get better if he just starts to lift the baseball a little more consistently. Vlad Jr., at only 23 years of age, is going to accomplish things that are unbelievable. The projections are through the roof for him. The talent's through the roof. If you thought this guy was a bust, yeah, forget it. Vlad Jr. is here to stay. He's the best first baseman in Major League Baseball without a doubt. So good. Vlad Jr., best first baseman in Major League Baseball. We got a new guy atop the list. Second day in a row with a new guy at number 1. I'd love to know what you guys think about the rankings down in the comment section below. Tell me what I got right. Tell me what I got wrong. I'm sure you're already doing that. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so you don't miss out on any of these rankings coming at you every single day until Christmas, including Christmas. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc, links in the description. That's where I'm wrapping up today's video. Tomorrow, you got the second baseman coming at you hot, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is the first base ranking from last year, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the second baseman ranking. Bye.